Good afternoon, all. CamelbackTrading.org coming to you this Wednesday afternoon, November 2nd. We are looking at Window Traders' market profile of the ES and SPY. So, from an initial reaction at 2 o'clock of, to an hour later of, boy oh boy, do these short-term traders get just absolutely smashed around. Now, I'm going to tell you right now, I did not place a trade after I period. Okay, I had a long in I that I had been holding for a while because I thought we would finally stop the one-time framing and alleviate some short pressure. So I held it for a little bit, and it worked out nicely for me. I had a good day. I'm not thrilled about the way I got a little stubborn earlier in the day because I didn't think they would keep pressing as long as they did. So if anything, I just missed a bunch of short opportunities all through B through F because every time it came up was worth really B through G. Any push up was worth a short because it kept rolling back over. And in that entire time frame, I only took one. But I had a good day. And let's go over that, and then we'll talk about what transpired in the afternoon. I took a short in A period to go get yesterday's low. Once it looked like I was going to go get it, I jumped on a short and did well on that. Then in B period, I really didn't think we were going to go trend, so I took a long when B pushed lower, and that worked out because we didn't go trend. C period, took a short because we were one-time framing down, so the ebb and flow trade was working. Then I did it again, and I took it off right as when we were about to take out B's high, and that was just a very small loss on that one. That was my only loss of the day. Now, E period, I actually took a long thinking we were going to pop. I thought there were stops over here at B, C, and D's high. So I took the long. It popped enough for me to get paid. I got paid like 3 or 4 points, but that's all it did and rolled over. So that's all that did. Then in G period, when it came in, I took a long the first time against the 50-day moving average, which worked. And in I period, like I said, I started to trade in H. I'm like, I really think they're going to alleviate some of this short pressure prior to 2 o'clock. It took a while, but it finally went up, and I did okay on that. So I had a good day, but I missed a bunch of shorts here and during these time frames because I thought we would do what we did in I sooner rather than later. That's okay. Now, what happened later in the day? So, again, I had people trading in my room, and, they did very well. I advised my room, especially newer traders, it just isn't worth it. If you're trading for a living, this is clearly a coin flip at 2 o'clock. There were two things that I might have done. I didn't do them. Let me go over something. Before this shit show happened, I went over everything in the trading room, where our destinations and what the algorithms would probably go and get or attempt to on both sides. I said on the upside, obviously after today's high, was our 11 wide point of control. Our 14 wide, again, this is 14, my numbers are messed up. 14 wide overnight POC, afternoon rally high from yesterday, single prints, and 3,900 attempt. Well, guess what? Boom, did it. So the only short I might have taken was at 3,900. That was a very visual one. Even though we popped above it in K, it was a visual one because J came in pretty good initially. So that would have been good. But I didn't take it because, like I said, I'm not going to trade against these mindless machines and uneducated traders. Just not going to do it. But they got all those destinations. I also said prior to 2 o'clock when we were talking in the room, and this is what we do in the room when it's kind of slow. We go over everything, what to look for, where the algos are going to set their parameters to, where maybe you can take a trade. I said that in this morning's video. Take a parameter far away and take it either on the short or long side. So this one could have been one, right? That single print fill and 3,900 could have been one. So if you took that, great job. And I also said on the downside, obviously, when we would that would be today's low, and then below today's low, we're going to start hitting some vacuums. We're not really coming out of anything until we really come out of the daily balance. And we came out of it. The daily is now down. The only thing missing right now is last week's low. And if we take out last week's low over these next 2 days, then you have a possibility of an outside week down. Now we had a 12 for 12 point of control. Okay? Even with all the craziness in J, K, and L, we had a 12 for 12 wide POC. We never got back to the open in an L. And then finally, when he finished his Q&A, we got our directional move, which was trend down, because he finished right around 315, 320. So right in L period. So L made new lows. He was done. The market wasn't happy. They didn't give them that solid, oh yeah, it's going to be 50 in December. Or, you knew he wasn't going to do that. But I still thought they might be happy with what transpired. Initially they were. But then once the press conference started, after the press conference started, and I guess after the question started, they didn't like what he had to say. And they took it down. So we go out with a 12-wide point of control, a price probe, and a trend day down in SPY and ES. Triple Qs go out with a 9-wide POC, price probe, and a trend day down. Russell goes out with a price probe, although there's a smaller, a trend day, and 10-wide. So, is it all over for the Bulls? I'm not going to say it's necessarily all over for the Bulls, but what happened today, for me, firmly puts the daily down. It also puts the weekly in a very precarious position with 2 days to go in the week. Now, we're going to see if this directional move in the last hour gets a follow-through tomorrow. I can tell you one thing. If we fill these single prints, we're going back to the 12-wide POC. So that's going to be crucial. So to me, the line in the sand for sellers is K's low. You want to defend the trend day because any acceptance into today's value, you're going to the POC. The Bulls line in the sand will be last week's low, which in SPY is 373.11. You want to defend that. More importantly, if you don't defend it, you don't want to close below it on Friday. It's one thing to take it out to firmly put us in balance on the weekly. It's quite another thing to get acceptance in an outside week down below it. So we got absolutely smacked in the face at 3,900. We were above the 50-day moving average today, only to close below it by $6. We're only $3 away from the 20-day moving average. So we were above the 50, gave it all up, we're $6 below it, and now we're only $3 above the 20. So much still out on the table. I said I thought by next Wednesday we'll have a good idea if the year's lows are in. Well, after today, not so sure. We're going to see what kind of follow-through we get on this market, but not so sure right now. I'm still going to give myself to next Tuesday. Now, upside destinations in SPY. The price probe, L's low, 376.25. Single print started 377.55 and started 378.96. By the way, speaking of single prints, do you know when K period opened, we had a $4 set of single prints on the upside? Think about that. Well, not only did we take back $4 worth of single prints, we went and made new lows and then went trend down. Amazing. Short-term traders, you think they can move a market? 12-wide point of control at 382.44, which is E's low, and then today's high of 388.63. Downside is 374.76 today's low, 373.11 weekly low. Single prints 372.03 to 371.97, and then an afternoon pullback low of 369.24. For the ES, downside 66.75 today's low, 51.75 weekly low, 41, one little tick of single prints from October 21st, 55.50 weekly low. For the upside, 81.25 is the price probe. Single print start at 94.50 and get filled at 08.50. 43.50 is our 12 wide. 07 is today's high. Now let's go to the charts and see what transpired here. I know it's longer, but I hope it's worth it to you guys and gals because it's pretty important, everything that went on here. So here's the daily in SPY. We were firmly in balance until that big-time flush out late in the day. We took out the balance low, which was the 25th low of 378.67 by almost $4. The daily is now officially down for me. The weekly, again, The weekly is still one time framing up. We actually took out last week's high, don't forget. But barely. But technically, nothing's changed on the weekly yet unless we take out last week's low. I'll still call it up, but man, that is tedious at best. But the daily, here's the big question now. Is this our new lower high? 1, 2, 3. I don't know yet. I'm still not going to make a call until I think after the election. I think by next Wednesday morning, so a week from today, we should know if the lows are in for the year or if we're going to go visit and make a new one. Now, I want to show you something in triple Qs. We're in balance in the monthly in ES. Look at Qs. They never took out last month's high yet. They're still down on the monthly. Do you see the difference? Look at the weekly. They never went up. Okay? I was still in balance because they never took out this weekly high. And now they took out last week's high. So it's still balance on the weekly. And the daily is firmly down. And they're below all three of their major moving averages, 200, 50, and 20. Triple Qs definitely with bigger issues. All right? And then quickly, Russell is down, but it's still above the 50. Now, it just took out their balance by about $1. So Russell, you might, if you want to give it a little leeway, you can to see if we get below the 50. But regardless, it was a shitty close. The weekly, though, however, is still up, right? They took out last week's high by a better margin than we did, by over $2. So they're still firmly up in the weekly. And monthly, they've been balanced. So again, damage was done this afternoon. But one day does not make a market. We want to see now, I always say a lot of times it's not until Thursday we got our directional move. But today we did get it late in the day. Now the question is, do we get a follow-through the same way? If we do, we're going to take out last week's low, test the 20-day moving average, and then you're going to have the daily down and the weekly firmly in balance and the monthly in balance. So very important to see what kind of follow-through, if any, the sellers get. We have good volume on the tape. Okay, it's 123 million. But please keep in mind, this is still short-term traders. My goodness, there was glass shattering all over the place from these glass-jawed traders. You're going to see on Twitter people bragging their ass off how what a great day they had. The only thing you can take from me that's 100% certainty, like I always say, odds are never 100, but 100% certainty, more people, a lot more people blew up accounts today than made money. 90% of traders don't fail on a regular basis, okay, for that stat not to be true. I hope you weren't one of them. I hope you were wise to either just watch this. There was no reason to trade it. I trade for a living until I get something that I could really figure out what they're trying to do, which did happen, like I said, late in L&M. There's no reason for me to place a trade. And I take the money I made, put it in my pocket, and wait for tomorrow. I will be here tomorrow, but I'm leaving early after 12:30. I hope to be back before the close. There will be an evening video. I'm just not sure if I'll be back for the end of the trading day. Again, $30 a month. You get a lot for that. Thank you for liking and subscribing to this YouTube channel. Rest up, enjoy your evening, and we'll speak prior to the opening tomorrow.